which tend to swell the waters, and the third by the Virgin, which indicates that when the sun had passed the sign, the inundation would have nearly subsided. To this is superadded a large Anubis and dog star, who just think that's why I always make sure if I do anything and I say anything wrong, I make sure that I have it up there. You can laugh at me all you want, but at least you got the information, right? Who with the empathetic gesture turning towards Isis, who has an empty throne on her head, thorn on her head, intimate that the sun, by the aid of the lion, had cleared the difficult path of the Tropic of Cancer, and was now the sign of the latter. And although in the state of exhaustion would soon be a condition to process on his way to the south, and it is through the instrumentally of Leo and Osiris, the sun god is relieved, and his parallel previous conditions, previous condition, a strong paw of the lion wrest him from the clutches of typhoon or the spirit of night and darkness, and place him in his wanting course. Anubis, the dog star, is the herald of this event. Page 224. See page 224. Here we see the archetype of the rising and restoration of our Grand Master Hiram by the strong grip or lion's paw. And it will be seen with the position of the worshipful master when the act of rising the condition, see as page 375, is a facilim of the Anubis over the body of Osiris, fellow mysteries, page 22. We may distinguish 2 points of heavens, say dubious, when explaining the philosophy of the Osirian mysteries, which limited the duration of the creative action of the sun. And these 2 points are those where the night and the day are equally or are of equal length. Securely has the sun in his annual route attained one of these points, then an active and prolific force appears to emanate from its rays in a communication and to communicate movement of life in all subliminary bodies, which he brings to light by the new organization. It is then that the resurrection of the God taken place, and with his that of all nature, having arrived at the opposite point, that power seems to abandon him in nature, or Isis, becomes sensible of his weakness. It is Atres whose mutilation Cimbrium deplored. It is Adonis wounded in the rival parts in which Venus regretted the loss. It is Osiris preceptated in the tombs of Typhoon, and whose origins of generations the discoloration Isis never found. Just so you can see that right there, because I'm more than certain this collate. And I shall add, as a modern counterpart of either it is Hiram Abiff, buried in the grave, dug due east and west 6 feet perpendicular, with the supposed loss of the master's word. This only is the true interpretation of the Masonic drama. Although the fictitious powers of the sun's rays, nature, as it were, becomes pregnant in spring and summer and brings forth in autumn, and hence the pagan mythology of Egypt and earth, and more properly nature, was represented as a female and a goddess, and designated by the name of Isis, while the functionating and fertilizing power of the sun was represented as a male and chief deity, or the ruler or governor of nature, and was called Osiris or Baal. But when the sun reaches the autumnal equinox, his prolific powers seems to decay, and he passes further south. As he passes further south, his rays become weaker and weaker until at last, during the winter months, nature becomes entirely barren. Typhoon or the genius of evil and darkness had finally prevailed over the sun god, and Osiris is slain. He is restored again, however, by the sign Leo, or the lion's paw. After the vernal equinox, when the earth once more rejoices into bloom, and typhoon or winter is overcome, the supposed conflict between day and night, or light and darkness, which occurs through the diurnal motions of the earth, was another phenomenon. Now keep that phenomenon. You know when I always talk about speculations and phenomenons, right? Which gave rise to the philosophical myth, as already illustrated and explained on page 358 and 359. This is the same death and resurrection so graphically represented in the Master Mason's degree by the pretended death and burial of the candidate, and his subsequent rising by the paw of the lion. Right? Paw of where we go, paw of the lion. And the god recognized in the pagan philosophy, and god of nature, or the functionating powers of the sun, is the god to whom prayer are offered in Masonic worship. The name given and the fictitious deity, as has been already explained, were different in different countries, so that the Baal of Sumeria was the Osiris of Egypt, and unquestionably the Hiram of Freemasonry. In the 8th chapter of Ezekiel, this idol is designated by the name of Tammuz, and as we shall see thereafter, and the self-same deity whom every Mason minister as well as rum seller must personate in the sublime mysteries of the 3rd degree. All right, now that should be the end of that. Right, yeah, so that was the end of that. So in this, you heard about the master's grip, the lion's grip, right? And I did a whole thing on grips, on handshake of the snake, right? And so you will learn all of these things inside of those. That's what I said. It's like this these things inside, the things that you deal with inside here is symbolic, so you can understand them when we're going into an outer world. When I return, we will be doing the last chapter 17, and then from there I will be giving demonstrations of what was expressed even inside this chapter right here, right? Because it's laying down, it's telling you what it is, it's explaining the grips and these type of things, right? But I'm gonna just give it to you on a whole different level. So until next time, I'll be back. I'll be back real soon. So let me just close this out, because I want to make sure that I have, the end screen and all of that up, so I don't have to do no more editing and anything like that. So let's go. Oh, so look at that. I was looking at Grim Weak and Big. Oh no, my fault. Let me slide up out of here, people.